You both talked about this earlier in the debate, but let's get back to it because it's so important to Keloland. The Farm Bill expired on September 30th, and as of tonight, Congress still cannot come to an agreement. Why is it taking so long? And if it's not passed by the time you're sworn in, what will you do? Mr. Johnson.
Well, there are parts of the Senate bill that I like, and there are parts of the House bill that I like. And like anything in Congress, we are going to have to get together. So one of the things, and I got to tell everybody, I'm going to work my tail off to get on the Ag Committee. I've had experience with that Farm Bill, both in the public sector and in the private sector. I understand it. I have read all 700 pages of the House draft. I mean, I understand that Farm Bill inside and out, so I understand the weaknesses in each version. So one of the things that I want to do when I get there is be a voice to make sure that we're willing to compromise. Come together. I know sometimes we think that can be a dirty word, but the reality is in any relationship I've ever had, I've never gotten a whole loaf. I don't get a whole loaf when I talk with my wife. I don't get a whole loaf at the office. When I'm trying to figure out how we're going to run Sunday school, I mean, I don't get a whole loaf with my co-teachers. I mean, the reality is we need to be willing to find some common ground. And so I feel, for instance, that an incredibly strong part of the House bill is that it says that if you're on food stamps, if you're an able-bodied non-senior who doesn't have children at home, you should work or go to job training 20 hours a week. That is an incredibly important part of the American story. We have millions of people, I mean, Tim mentioned, we have millions of people who could work but who aren't. And part of the reason that they're not working is that our welfare system doesn't expect more from them. It doesn't instill in them the idea that work is not punishment, work is opportunity. And that is how your life is going to get better. So that's one part of the House bill that I would love to see retained. But I'm going to be honest. If we can't get that through the Senate, I'm not going to destroy the entirety of the Farm Bill because I don't get all of my way. So part of this is going to be a little bit of giving and taking, and I will be a voice, a common sense voice, to make sure that we get that thing done so that we have the predictability we need for South Dakota producers.
Mr. Bjorkman, how do we get a Farm Bill passed?
Yeah, well, the Senate passed their version 86-11, Don, and the House barely got it through because it's so highly partisan that even the Senate Ag Committee chairman, a Republican, condemned its partisanship. Dusty and I both read that Farm Bill. Dusty pronounced it a good bill before the House or the Senate Ag Committee chairman condemned it. Here's the problem with it. It allows Wall Street investors and others who have never set foot on a farm to take corporate welfare. Dusty wants to talk about workfare on the food stamp end, and I support workfare, but it's already in the law. We've got to address the corporate welfare because that's taken away money for conservation under this current House Farm Bill. It's taken away money for startup farming, for promoting ethanol, and it's limited the veteran farmer opportunities. So the problem is that we need to work across the aisle, and it didn't happen on the House side. We both want to be in the House Ag Committee. I know how to work and advocate for farmers. I was there fighting for family farms in the 80s. I understand what they need, and they need predictability, and they need an advocate for the family farm, not the big corporate farm, which takes already 80% of the benefits for 10% of the participants.
Okay, we have to leave it there.